Fortunately for them, their DJ neighbour Matt Burgess couldn't sleep.
My night, Jared Walsh, lovely bloke. He's been around for ages.
Oh, mate. Cheers. I love him.
Representing the men and women on sporting fields across the globe, it's now time for another Best Team Men podcast.
Welcome everyone to Best Team Men. Jared's bought a prop. I think a prop that he found here. You can't even read that out.
Nah.
How you boys going? I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good.
That's the way. What a show.
We need to address something as soon as I've come in here to Ozcast. We are doing very well. It's an early drop. It could be a long episode as well, which is great. A long round.
I'm fine with that.
The challenge is we need to find out what round we are in by next round.
I'll do some research.
We had a great off-air chat, which we can't really say on air or on podcast yet, but we'll get to that over the next couple of rounds, potentially.
Well, that could be an episode in itself, I reckon.
Yeah, it'll be good. But I said to Andy, mate, I tell you what, I'm a bit parched because I've just spoken for 20 minutes without taking a breath. Do you have any water? So, yeah, mate, I think there's one in the fridge. You sure? Yeah, no worries, go for it. I think what you mean, Andy, is there's one in the freezer.
Oh, yeah. That's the Arctic water we get in. Well, the thing is, podcasting is a long game, okay? Yeah. There's not a lot of money in it just yet. So that should be ready to drink by next week. Yeah. That is legitimately the bottle.
Oh,
yeah. Also an
goodness.
igloo brick, as they're also known as.
Can we thank the sponsors very quickly? Con at Brighton Trophy Centre. So Con is such a legend. That's the voice of water. Con is doing some advertising at 5AA, the radio station, right?
Oh, is he?
And he got in touch and said, hey, mate, look, I'm thinking of doing some advertising on 5AA. When's the best time to do the advertising? And I said, okay, so obviously with your really prestigious and respectable business, I think for a trophy centre, you want to do the ads maybe a Thursday or a Friday when people are thinking about sport, or on a Monday as well. So it's going to be on the sports show, which is brilliant.
I was going to say you told him Leon Biner.
So I said to Con, I'm happy to voice them for you if you want. I said, you are a partner, a major sponsor of this podcast. I'll just voice them for you. And sometimes we charge to voice stuff. And I said, I'm not going to charge you, mate, because you're a bloody sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah.
Rocked up to the building today, and Con's given me not only a bottle of wine.
I thought you were going to say water.
But he's also he's engraved 5AA on a glass, which is great.
Oh.
And I think Con was bored because he even put an engraved little sign on the bag the wine was in. You know how sometimes as a kid you got a magnifying glass and you burn something, you walk around the house going, what else can I burn? This is still with the engraver. So thank you very much. We love the sponsorship on Best Team Man.
Yeah, we sure do. And we've been lucky enough to get another sponsor on board as well. Yeah. So there's a little microbrewery down at Wollonga called Shifty Lizard.
Right.
A guy by the name of Lee. I went and caught up with him and to see if he would be interested in jumping on board, and he's more than happy. So he's going to jump on the multi aspect. Okay, so we are going to have $20 vouchers for the brewery and the restaurant up there to give away, and we'll talk about that a bit later on how you can win those.
Awesome. Yeah. So what, he listens to the podcast?
He listens to the podcast, and he runs and owns a brewery up in Wollonga called Shifty Lizard.
Okay, so this is the challenge. This is what we want to do. And I think because our rounds go for between 30 to 40 minutes every round, I think we're at the stage where Con, I know you'll be listening, and Shifty Lizard, what's his name again? Lee at Shifty Lizard. You need to send us in, or we will write like an ad.
Yep.
And we can do it in like a live kind of ad in the middle of the podcast to break it up.
Podvertising.
It is.
Yeah, Podvertise misses out on all the revenue, but that's good. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
We can find a way to do it, but potentially we could get Taylor or Rosie from the Up and Go podcast, whatever that's. What's it called? What's it called?
Up and Go. Okay, now I'm hungry.
Maybe we can get one of them to voice it, so there's a female voice, or we can get the intern to voice it.
Yeah, we can do that as well.
Yeah, sure.
Andy, I need to make a new intro because we've got to find a piece of media that says your name. Because at the moment it's just Jared, myself, obviously my news grab, and Kate, Tim, and Marty talking about Gerald.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I've got something here.
Oh,
I mean, like, what are they going to ask me about adding one bit about me in the intro?
You've been waiting for this for a month.
We do our preparation chat, and Andy's like, mate, if you need anything on Dustin Fletcher, I'm your guy.
Hey, anything on Jared Crouch, I'm also your guy, right? Just heads up.
We walk in, and on the whiteboard every single week under Andy's name is Dustin Fletcher and Jared Crouch.
Mate, Adam Crouch, the Nord Footy Club, I can do that as well. That's his brother. All right. Here comes the grab, okay? So set your scene. So it's another media grab. This is on radio. This is on breakfast radio. Probably about, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer.
Yeah.
In the news. And Claire Murphy, who used to be part of Fitzy, Claire and Jules, and then she was a newsreader for a bit longer. This is her doing a bit about the tennis. Here we go.
And world tennis number 3, Andy Murray has had to withdraw from the Swiss indoor event.
Like, because I'd just spoken to her about the weekend or something. I must have been on the mind. And she's gone.
I'm going to play that again.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
And world tennis number 3, Andy Murray has had to withdraw from the Swiss indoor event.
That fits so well with everything that
That's
we
amazing.
do here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know why I've held on to that grab for so many years, and now I do.
I've been going
absolutely.
through my old stuff, like the old kind of archiving. I'm pretty much backing up everything on my work computer at the moment and going back to...
Well, that's media for you, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, my computer has been backing up emails from like 2012. It's full. I've got emails from you in there, Andy. It's hilarious. So I got some audio a while ago of the stuff I did with Akmal and Cal in
I saw you posting
in Melbourne.
photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What was Akmal like to work with?
Well, I mean, he was... he was physically there every day.
And what was Cal like? Cal Wilson.
You know what I learned? I learned in that year, which was 2008, I learned how to deal with talent.
Yeah, okay, good answer.
So-
You've really stepped around the whole...
Yeah. It was such... I was 24, so it was such an interesting year. As a 24-year-old, you go to Melbourne and you probably think, hey, far out, I'm working on a national drive show. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Then you realise that you're working with well-established comedians who have high profiles and you're pretty much the button monkey there, and you will speak when they speak to you and stuff like that. Cal was lovely. They were all nice to me, but I had a interesting interaction with all of them. Akmal had a really funny moment once, kind of like your Dr. Barry Hooper moment, where at that time we had a weekend show which was Ryan, Monty and Whipper. Whipper was on Sydney Breakfast, Ryan Shelton and Monty Diamond. Akmal was horrible at remembering names. So Akmal, trying to tease, he said, oh, we got the guy coming up, the guy's on Rove, Brian Sheldon. So I think what we can do, Andy, and what I've been trying to do, because you are an equal third of best team men now, and we love having you on board. I'm not going to say that every round because you're not a guest anymore. This is just as much your podcast as everybody else's.
He's taken it to a new level.
He has. You've got some great radio stories, and I think we can think of them as we continue on the rounds. I might have some really more detailed ones in a couple of weeks, which will be fascinating.
Well, I've got something here for you, sir.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is from a few years back.
Yes.
And I was saying to Maddie before, part of my job at Nova back in the day was to do production.
Oh, no.
So there'd be some spare time. And
Is this going where I think it's going?
It's definitely going where you think it's going.
Oh, no.
So basically, I don't know if you remember, maybe it was last week, where the intro was, stained with Jared at the start. So Jared would record a lot of his things with me, and then I would produce them up, right? So a lot of the time, Jared would probably have eaten some sort of curry sandwich before he recorded back in the day, and he would just let some rip. And I would record them and hold them in like a folder just in case for one day I need to, blackmail him or something. Yeah. And I would make songs out of them. So I was like, okay, what can I do this one with? And this is the one that I did. Okay, here we go.
Don't you know I'm loco?
Wait for the end. This is spectacular.
And the lights are blinking. I'm thinking it's all over when I go.
So, yeah, that was Jared Frederick Walsh. That was
just as we said, he takes it to a new level.
yeah.
So Andy sent that file, and it was called
Insane in the Methane.
Well, I'm glad you actually played that because I had no idea that stitch up was coming, but that's me. And my wife, who, funnily enough, she listens to the podcast because she said that she didn't break the vacuum cleaner.
She'd just be going, oh, Jared.
I know. Well, she said what she loves about this the podcast and what we do is this is our true selves here. And we were saying just before, like we obviously have boundaries that we don't cross, and we don't want to get like smutty or anything like that because we want everybody to listen to. But this is a really good opportunity for us to be ourselves, and that brings me into what happened on the weekend. And you, Andy, are a father of about 12 kids.
14, I think.
Okay,
That he knows of.
Yeah.
We will get to Port Pirates and some other stuff really soon as well because there's heaps to get through, and it doesn't matter if this round goes for ages because our true fans, which you can take us through some stats, will love it. Yeah. So, protective fathers.
Yep.
We spoke about this birthday last week that I had to go to. We took my daughter to the playground on the weekend, and I hate other kids when I'm at playgrounds. I never thought I'd be that dad that has a look around at other kids.
I'm glad you said when you're at playgrounds.
I just hate other kids.
I just hate them. Have you gone through this, mate, where you get probably too overprotective of your own daughter or daughters, and you look at other kids and they're just being a normal other kid, but you're just like, I hate you.
Well, they're looking at me going, why are you on the slide? And I'm there like, I'm protecting my daughter.
Where are you going?
Whose birthday is it? Got a bit of a strip show from the old Matty, eh?
Mate.
Matty Burgess.
So, at this playground over the weekend, there's a couple of flying foxes there, which was awesome. And my daughter was on them. She was having a great time. She still struggles with sharing at the moment because she's not yet a big sister. And a kid came up and used the flying fox before her, so she started getting a little bit upset. So at that point, I hated the kid. Point one. There was later on that day another example where we went to bounce and a kid came from her and took a ball out of her hand and ran off. Hated the kid. Part three was where I'm like, okay, this is where I've had enough. And I'm glad you played that audio because we were, I don't know if I should say this, we were at this playground and it's in Semaphore. It's amazing. It's, I think it's Point Malcolm or Fort Malcolm. Point Malcolm Reserve, I think it is. There's new tennis courts there. There's basketball courts with lights right on Military Road towards Semaphore next to the holiday park.
Okay.
Awesome big slide, flying foxes. And we were on our way away from the playground. She's had a great time there and it was time to go home. And this little boy came up to her and just stared at her and started laughing. So imagine kind of like a showdown in the Wild West where you're just looking at one another, and he just started laughing at her, and it was really upsetting my daughter, and I didn't know what to do because obviously the kid wasn't with his parents. They would have been a similar age as well. I had no idea what to do, and I'm looking around going, all right, is anybody around? Apart from my wife standing next to me. And I thought, how am I going to communicate a message to this kid without actually yelling at the kid and making them upset? So I did what I do best, and I passed weed.
Yes! Unreal.
And it was aggressive. And it wasn't directed at the kid, but I just needed to kind of stop that awkward moment. So I'm standing there and I've just got...
Did you do the old left the leg lift?
No, it was just standing. And my wife said, Jared, everybody could hear that. We need to leave immediately. And I looked at the kid and just imagine my face looking at the kid and nodding, going, that's right. Yeah. And then walked off. The kids stood there by themselves just wondering what had happened. And we don't know if the kid yelled out, Mom, Dad.
He's probably still there.
It was, oh man. And I think like as soon as you become a parent, you become really protective of your own child and you just don't like other kids.
Yeah. You literally mentally kill for your kid.
Mate, you're going to go through this, Matt. It's full on. Once you become a father, it's such a bizarre experience.
I'm actually excited for it. I
Oh,
can't
good.
wait. Whenever that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you said that twice over
Is
the
that an
past two
announcement
rounds.
coming on? Or?
No. No, nothing to announce.
Coming on. I mean, I think it's good. You messaged us yesterday because you said you had a really bizarre experience.
I did have a really, really bizarre experience. So it's Wednesday. I'm assuming the episode will go up today. So I was lucky enough to last night go and watch the Collingwood VFL side defeat Adelaide, which was great. So Also lucky enough to be part of the bunker. So for people that don't know what the bunker is, it's a little bar sort of function that looks into the Crows and Port change rooms.
Oh, yeah. I know where that
I
is.
think it's called the John Cahill room.
That's
at
at the
Port
southern end.
Correct, yeah. So I was lucky enough to have tickets in there. I decked out in my Collingwood gear. And it's hosted by Tony Mockra. Tony Godra. Yeah.
He used to play for the Crows, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I had to do a thing with him and Kane Corns at a Amart All Sports back in the day.
You know what the
With
funny
Mike
thing
Goldman.
is? Dustin Fletcher would have played on Tony Mockra.
would have.
Well, the weird thing, I made Kane cry because it was the day that he retired.
Oh, yeah.
Or
so not
the
you
day
weren't-
after,
you weren't
and I
mean
was
to
like,
him.
"So, how do you feel about retiring and your kids and such?" And yeah, he was
Lost it.
very
To
upset.
your question, how do you feel about retiring and your kids and stuff?
Yeah.
Great question,
Like,
Andy.
yeah. Gee, Nova really booked the best MC for this gig, didn't he? Oh my god!
Oh, Jared must have been busy that day.
Yeah, Jared was too expensive. That's what happened. They're like, "Who's the poor man's Paul Curran? Let's send him along." And I'm like, "All right." Sorry, Paul used to do all the MC work before Jared.
That's why he doesn't talk to me anymore. Can I know you well? Yeah.
Yeah, so lucky enough to be down in the bunker. Okay, and it's food and drink supplied. So you walk down there, and if you want to get
Any Fanta?
if you want to get shit faced, you can. Right. Anyway, so I walk down the stairs, and Mods actually greets you as you walk down the stairs and shows you to your table. And throughout the night, he actually takes on the role as a bit of a waiter or a host. So he'll come over and say, "Andy, you right for a drink, mate? I'll get you a drink.
Yeah.
What do you want?"
He works for the club, isn't he?
He does,
And
yeah.
He used to he stayed away from footy after he retired. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with anything. I just want to surf.
He moved down to Goolwa or something like that.
Counter Bay.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there on our table, and I was with my wife and mum and dad and a couple of their friends. And he strolls over to our table and he says, "Oh, you guys right for a drink? Tony, who's my dad, do you want another Great Northern? What about you, young fella? You want a beer?" I said, "No, mate, I'm driving. I've drawn the short straw here. I've got to drive." He goes, "Oh, it's a bit soft, mate. What do you want, a Fanta?" And I shit you not, my family and my wife looked at me and were in hysterics.
That is amazing.
That's the best.
That's almost like we've worded up Tony Mockra.
That's what I thought. And I thought maybe he listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
No, Tony Mockra doesn't listen to Best Team, man.
That is outstanding.
That's the best.
There is this running theme now about you and
Oh,
Fanta.
Fanta, I know. And obviously, Fanta, he's thrown, "Do you want a Fanta because you're soft and you're not drinking?" And so Tony Mockra has mocked me.
Yeah. Tony Mockra.
Tony mocked ya. Mockra. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And then I would be lying if I didn't think that you guys had somehow worded him up, but you had no idea I was going there, so that
we
couldn't have
didn't.
happened.
Do you think it's weird? I only thought this recently, and I'm 36, so I should have thought of this earlier. In Australian rules football, we play the away team song at an opposition's ground.
Yeah.
Like home ground advantage. Why are we playing an away
They
team
would never
song?
do that in soccer
No.
or anything.
Do you mean when they win or just
Both.
at the beginning?
At the beginning, when they
Yeah,
run
that's a
on,
bit
and if
weird.
they win, why play the opposition team song?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I can understand if it's a neutral venue.
I feel like they're padding time for sponsorships. Like, why else would they play it?
I don't know. Can you research that?
I'll look into it, yeah.
You will?
Yep.
Hang on, don't you MC the games? Can't you find out?
Oh, yeah. So maybe I should get on the microphone and go, guys, before we play this song, I'm just wondering why we are doing
Playing
it.
it, yeah.
Cheers.
Here's what I found earlier. Insane in the methane.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Andy in control of like a sports stadium or something like that?
I was.
Okay.
Andy used to be on the big screen.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, imagine if he just played whatever he wanted to, just went completely against.
Well, the weird thing was I did 2 or 3 years of the rugby sevens when they were in Adelaide. And so it was like 2-3 days of on the microphone at Adelaide Oval.
Did you have to research the players' names?
Yeah, you had all the players' names, and I was shocking at that. Like, because Fijian names aren't what they're not pronounced as what they look like.
Who was your favourite player name that you had to pronounce? John Smith.
John Smith.
Well, you would have done that at Adelaide United with like the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. There'd be a few curly names.
Mate, I'll tell you the guy's name, and it always remains in my head because, yes, I have done some interesting names, but I also take it really seriously. I think it's really respectful to get names right. So, for example, last night I messaged Maddie because there's a Collingwood player's name. If you look at it, it looks like the name is pronounced Sear.
Okay.
But it's pronounced Sire. I always make sure that there's a pronunciation guide. Sometimes they are also wrong. So the pronunciation guides are written so that mainly English-speaking people can say that their names correctly. But that's not necessarily how someone would say it in their own language.
Yeah.
So in Adelaide United, for example, we had a player that traditionally here they call him Awa Mabil. But his name is pronounced Aware. So I will always say how he likes it to be said because his family are there watching and things like that. So when it comes to international games, I'll make sure I go up to the either the match official or the like the team manager or whatever. Sorry about that, Casper. And I'll go, can I please read out the team list to you just to make sure the name's right? And they'll go, yep, that's fine. Good. And I get a real buzz if they go, yeah, you actually know. Because I've done games like Thailand, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, all these weird ones where when I say weird, it's just difficult to pronounce their names and I want to make sure I get them right.
Doesn't look like what they spell out.
Definitely.
Yeah. But there's nothing better than seeing the player that you're saying the name and getting it right
100%.
and they know it's right.
Yeah. And that brought me to a game where I did the Socceroos taking on Syria where I had to double check a name. And I'm pretty sure this one was in Perth. And the guy's name, and I got it correct, which was absolutely brilliant. The guy was stoked that I could say Mardickian correctly.
Wow. I'm even worried.
There he is right
That's
there.
good.
Mardickian.
He's a good looking dick. Well, like when I did the rugby sevens, the first year I was doing it with another guy, like some professional guy that has done like rugby for years and stuff. So it was all good. We had banter and he was able to train me and look after me.
So it was like a pro-am in golf, basically.
Got no idea what that means, but yeah, possibly. Is something to do with a club or a Corvette?
One of my favourite things about this podcast is when we throw a legitimate sporting question to Andy and he's got no idea.
And he's open about it. Well, the weird thing is, I've worked in sport and I have no idea about the game that I'm working in. So, like, with the rugby, I didn't realise that rugby league and rugby union had totally different rules and regulations and stuff. And I remember...
Where are the rugs? I thought this was a different kind of sport.
Can't wait to see where we chart next week.
And I remember, like, regarding player names, I was booed by the audience because I wasn't looking at because the game's obviously quite small on the field when you're sitting up in the old stadium and like all I've got is this little slide window and I'm looking out there with my microphone trying to work out what just happened.
There's a try and there's a try at number 7.
Well,
Barry Hooper.
It was a good play though. And I did it with soccer as well. I did a game of soccer and they'd put so just for everyone playing at home, Jared's opened up the ice brick that he got out of the fridge and it's just fizzed everywhere, which is weird because it's just it's flat water. Anyway, so I've been booed at the rugby. I've been booed at the rugby because I've incorrectly named a player that was either coming off or coming on or whatever the situation was. But the director on my ear had given me the name.
Oh, so it wasn't your fault.
No, and there was so much that I wanted to and say you're a dickhead, like to the director. So what I did is I continued talking but turned the mic off. And they have freaked because what had happened, the major sponsor, HSBC, so a massive sponsor that invests in the game worldwide. They're from Hong Kong, obviously, a big bank, millions of dollars. They were sitting in the thing. They've freaked out, like the people in the box with me, the production team that have, been awarded this contract for the rugby sevens in Australia. Because I've continued to then say, like, thanks to my director, Brian, for letting me know the wrong name just then. And it was the greatest thing ever.
That's the hardest thing to do because I think the sign of a good MC, you're the end product of all the hard work that goes in behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you are given the wrong information, you've got two ways of approaching it. You can say on the screen while you're looking at the camera, if you can think quickly, and I got that name wrong because I was just given the wrong information. Cheers. Or you can just roll with it and cop it. And copping it is taking the higher ground. And of course, I think it's the right thing to do. but fuck, it's hard.
Yeah. What I would have done in that situation if I knew the name, I'd say apologies.
Yeah.
Blah blah, the real name. But you just because you're like, well, this is my brand. This is my brand. Everyone's listening to my voice, or they're looking at me on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, interesting times.
Are you like that though, Maddie, with getting things correct? So like you with the music industry, if you hear radio announcers pronounce an artist name incorrectly,
Dead Mouth 5. Yeah,
Mouth 5.
That used to happen a lot.
There was one, Andy, your ex-station, Jarrett, your current station.
Yeah.
They played I Could Be the One from Avicii and apparently Nicky Romeo. Not Nicky Romero, not Nicky Romeo.
This is one of my bugbears as well. I don't think I've ever said bugbears. I've just said it, and then obviously I'm old.
Well, with the radio station, we'd often get, this is how you pronounce it, and it's incorrect. Jared would have to come back and go, no, it's actually this.
Yeah.
Look at an interview with this person.
Yeah, so the way that we would normally do research when you're playing a song is that, okay, it's awesome if you've been sent a pronunciation guide. Which sometimes is a guess. So the best thing to do, and I know you've done this as well, you go on to YouTube and you look at 10 interviews they've done.
Yeah.
Watch them say their own name.
Yeah.
And you're like, awesome,
And that's how
I
you
know.
do it.
That's how you go with it. And when you try to go back to the people and saying, hey guys, this is how it's actually pronounced, they're like, no, we're going to go with this. Well, you can't do that. And I find it disrespectful. Like, and we still hear on the radio now people saying like artist names incorrectly. It doesn't take long just to research what you are playing.
I can tell you from experience, as an artist, someone getting your name wrong is the biggest kick in the dick ever.
Yeah.
So my current name, Fresh Till Death, pretty simple, I would have thought. I played at a festival in New South Wales 2 years ago. And we all flew, because it was in a country town, Port Macquarie, and we all flew into Sydney, and then we all flew from Sydney to Port Macquarie. So there was a lot of us that came in from other parts of Australia and met in Sydney, and then we all jumped on the same plane. We had a mini bus that picked us up from the airport, took us to the hotel. And the driver had obviously a list of names, and he couldn't leave the airport without us all being on the bus. So he's going through them, and he's got his list of names, and you had to say, a bit like high school roll call. Yes, I'm here. So he's going, Timmy Trumpet. Timmy's up the back. He goes, yes. Yep.
Timmy goes,
Will Sparks. Yes. Tick. Jesse Block. Yes. Tick. Teddy Cream. Tick. Yes. Fresh to Die.
Oh, no.
And I didn't say anything. And he's like, fresh to die? Well, no, he's not here, but Fresh Till Death's here. Oh. And I was like, that is the biggest ego hit ever.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of self-awareness and understanding. I've held on to this for a couple of weeks. I think I loosely alluded to it last week. But we're in a digital age now. We're talking in Ozcast network.
New media, son.
Exactly. Where a lot of people are listening to noise-cancelling headphones. People are listening to digital radio. They're listening to streams where the audio quality is crystal clear, which is fantastic. Even AM on the digital radio is just brilliant. It's fantastic. Seems the listeners are aware of that, but I flick around sometimes and I hear radio presenters that probably take for granted the fact that some people will be listening on digital radio and they forget that what they're doing sometimes. So we listen religiously to the Rub on Triple M.
Yes.
We do that, and it's been great over the past 10 years. Basically, it's their pre-game footy show. And it's spearheaded by James Brayshaw. I think peak Rub, the best time that it ever was the late Danny Frawley was on it, Gary Lyon, James Brayshaw, Brian Taylor. Like that was peak. It was awesome. They knew what they stood for.
They just had an unbelievable chemistry though, didn't they? All five of them.
Yeah, and you know what? They didn't necessarily talk about footy all the time. It was just them having a chat. Kind of like what we're doing now. They were just heaps funnier.
Well, yeah. when I used to panel 5AA footy, we would take a 3AW feed when it was a non-Adelaide and Port game.
Yep.
And I would always listen to BT. He literally the greatest commentator ever.
He's great. He's good. Yeah,
he's good for banter.
The thing that BT has forgotten is that now with the digital age, if you listen to their quiz, which they do on a weekend, you can actually, hear him breathing heavily into the microphone.
and it's weird because it goes through the bristles of his
100%. You can hear the bristles moving on the mic popper.
Bristles?
Yeah.
Hey, mate, I'm just going to get down to Bristles and buy some CDs back in the 90s, all right? They call him Bristle, too.
Do you want a cup of tea? I've got a Bristles. If you're listening with noise-cancelling headphones, the other thing you can hear is them eating.
Oh, you didn't even need noise cancelling. I could hear it in my car.
The weird thing is that's a golden rule of radio. Don't eat in the studio
I know,
for starters,
mate.
but also on the mic.
Yeah, you can hear absolutely everything. Sometimes with announcers, you can hear them breathing. So they'll be doing an interview or listening to someone else talking. They're going,
Or
fucking hell, I didn't realise I was interviewing Darth Vader.
or the I guess you call them the golden oldies of broadcasters, where they'd probably have dentures and they'd have too much saliva going on in the mouth, so they're like, yeah, thanks for the call there, Brian. Next caller, and he is. And you're like, what is going on in that studio that we should know
Are you
about?
taking your dog in there? Or
You drop some peanut butter on the old mates and see how we went. No, it's not that sort of podcast, guys. Let's move on. Next caller.
The swallowing noise, it's all bad. And I think I've got really sensitive ears because of that. Like, my missus is a loud eater, and when we have dinner, I actually make her go to the other room to have dinner. Like, and sometimes I have to put headphones on because I can hear you eat. Like,
I had a housemate like that. He was the loudest cereal eater ever.
Yeah.
And I could hear him from my bedroom.
Is it heavy breathing through the nose with the cereal?
That with the crunch, and they just keep chewing, excessive chewing.
Yeah.
I was like, mate, you need to fucking work on that.
Yeah,
Like, how can you get chewing cereal so wrong?
Sorry, mate, I've dropped a few eckies and I was chewing my face off.
Absolutely, it's horrible. Boys, so Andy, I need to ask you a question.
Yep.
And this goes into, I reckon what we should do to lead into it is we should put some key listeners on our plaque.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
so,
sure.
Maddie,
Yep.
I reckon you start off, and then I'll do mine, and then Andy, we need to finish with yours because I need to ask you a question.
Okay,
Absolutely. Go nuts.
So I'm going to put a guy on by the name of Luke Durden. He's a fullback at the Yankalilla Tigers.
Dirty.
How'd they go on the weekend?
Dirds. Yeah, we got up. LT kicked the winning goal.
Did he really?
He did, yeah.
Are you almost playing again?
I won't play this week. I'll play next week. So,
Okay.
one more game I'll miss and I'm back. So, yeah, LT kicked the winning goal. But Dirds is a keen podcast listener.
Great.
And I sent him ours, just a little, hey, mate, check this one out.
Yep.
And then he said to me on Monday night, the ironic thing is you said you don't think you should tell people to listen to your own podcast, yet you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
It's a good point,
Well,
Dirds.
I'm glad you actually said
So
that.
I'm going to put him on the plaque.
Congratulations, Luke. We'll send all these to Con. Actually, you've started sending them to Con, haven't you?
No.
Great.
I do need to do that, though, Con. I will do it today.
So the fact that you said that the old Derdmeister said, hey, can you please, the irony on you telling someone to actually do something, I found interesting because we had a foundation member. His name's Damien Pratt, right? He lives in Sydney. Pratty. And he's been brilliant. I think still he might be giving people receipts and cash back for the ticketing fiasco that Russell Crowe caused at USA Basketball versus the Boomers.
Oh, yeah, that was a great time.
It was a great time. He's a legend. So I got a message from Pratty.
Yep.
And he very subtly said to me, just caught up on the 9th of July episode. Can I get on the Trophy Foundation member? And he sent a little emoji of someone putting their hands up. I said, of course, he wrote good bants on this one. Then he said, love the multis. I've been getting close. He sent me a picture of a multi that he had, and it was the same game multi. I think it was in rugby, and he only missed out with one leg. But by the looks of this screen, he has a gambling addiction. So I'm just going to move that away.
I need to make a confession, boys. I had a multi on last night's game.
You did not win it, did you?
I had a multi on last night's game.
Oh, yeah, he's smiling.
And it was, how many legs was it? It was 8 legs. 8 legs. And I put $10 on it for a...
Just get to it.
Okay, I missed by 1. And it was Adelaide to win. and I'm a Collingwood supporter.
See, there's so much wrong about that. A, you did a multi without us.
Side question: isn't your workplace a major sponsor of Collingwood?
No.
No, I feel like they are.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
No.
Okay.
Okay, not bad. We've decided not to discuss the multi-drama as well, what's happened with the other podcast.
But we are going to do another People's Multi this week.
Yeah, because we've got a sponsor.
We do have a sponsor, thanks to Shifty Lizard.
All right, Andy.
So we're gonna do the Port Geelong game
Okay.
on Friday.
What's our socials?
At Best Team Men on Twitter, facebook.com/Best Team Men.
Thank you. Andy Martin, who are you putting on the plaque?
Can I scratch mine
No.
and put another one on? Or can I put 2 on? Yeah?
Yeah, I think you should put 2 on
Okay,
because I need to
go
talk about
to-
one of them.
This person, Jared's put me on 2. Jake Barker Dash.
He's a former
Yeah,
young
I know
Socceroo, former Adelaide United player.
Yeah.
He's a ripper, mate.
Yeah, I know Jack.
Yep, there you go.
He listens to the podcast, actually,
Does he?
JBD.
Yeah. There you go. He used to live with one of my good mates, Xavier Gotch, for a
Him
while.
and Gotchi are mates, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Jakey has some of the best
Gotchi.
stories. The best stories, stories.
Like touring stories sort of thing.
Oh,
know what I'm
incredible. I mean, some of the people he met in Oman was very interesting. Oman, does he have some stories? Okay, so who's the other one?
Yaz, my future wife.
Glad you said that, Andy, because last night I was having a look through Facebook and Yaz put up an image on Facebook which looks like the front of the house that you are renting, and which is brilliant.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
I went, she uploaded an image. I hope it wasn't of my old mate.
No.
Oh, man.
That would still be loading.
Boy.
What I saw and I wanted to discuss with you, because I
Sure.
think it's very intelligent if you've done it. I'm hoping that you've done it.
I think I know what you're talking about here.
With the photo of the front of the house that you are renting, in the cement...
I mean, there's no need to tell everyone about the renting, mate. I'm a mortgage... I'm a successful businessman.
I saw
Yeah.
on the footpath the word Yaz. Now,
Yes.
I didn't see what was after that. Please tell me, A, it says Yaz and Andy, and B, you guys did it in wet cement. Did the thing. Yeah.
We also did it in wet cement. How do you think we made these babies? So what had happened when we first moved into the house? Literally in the first week, they did some like roadworks and stuff and replaced the footpath, and there was wet cement. And Yaz, being she's never rented before. She'd always had lived in a house that was purchased, right?
Yep.
So, there's general rules when you're renting a house. Don't modify it or customize it
Don't
in your
put
own
anything on
thing,
the
right?
wall.
Don't break it.
Yeah. And I came home one day. She's like, "Look what I did outside," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And literally, in I think each letter is about 30 centimeters in length. Right? It says Yaz and Andy, Mus and Luca, which are her two boys that live with us, in the wet cement. And I was like, you realise that the homeowners aren't going to be happy with it. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's on the cement. Everyone does it. It's all cool. Literally the second day after that, we get an email from the what do you call it? Property
Landlord?
manager. Yeah,
Yeah.
landlords.
Yeah.
And they said, you guys have to pay to get it like sanded off when you guys moved out.
Did you tell her, how'd you know it was us? And they're like, well, you actually have put your name.
Yeah, actually in the contract, everyone's name's there. Because I was like, yes. You know that people will know that we all live there now. Like, I'm trying to hide from a lot of people from the media, and you do that. No. But yeah, that's the story behind that. But yes, it says all of our names in big writing. The spoon drain bit where you drive into a driveway.
I love that. Have you ever done anything like that before? Like, if you know how a lot of people dick things or they draw little doodles on things.
No, I've never done that, but I was living in a share house with a couple of real rat bags, and it was through our partying days and stuff like that, and quite often woke up to messages because we were living in a house that was a private rent, so the landlord was the owner. And he just used to randomly pop over and mow the lawns 3 times a week, I think, just to check on the house.
What a legend.
And I woke up to a message one day saying, boys, what happened to the letterbox?
Uh-oh.
And then upon reflection, there was a couple of us when we got home from town, and one of us was wielding it like an axe at the other two. And we'd ripped it out the ground and was.
You got to do what you got to do for the gram. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly right. Yeah. So
We went to, I'm talking like years and years ago, a friend of mine and I drove to Melbourne to go to the footy. We wanted to watch a footy game at Dockland Stadium at Telstra Dome when it was back then. And I think the Friday night game was Essendon playing St Kilda.
Yep.
So we got up at 4 a.m, and all we wanted to do was drive to Melbourne to watch the footy, stay at his mum's house, and she was living in Hawthorn, and then come back home. The drama that we had was absolutely unbelievable. So he had a Mitsubishi Lancer, a white one, and we're like, great, we're going to pack the car, go there. So he rocks up at my house at 4 a.m, and first of all, he had something he had stolen from Domino's Pizza, which was the magnetic thing that you put on the top of your car. Domino's Pizza.
Yes.
And 2 inflatable dolls in the back seat. So we have just
Stole them
decided.
too.
No, well, I'm not sure where.
Bought 'em.
We probably got them from my bedroom. So then we decided to just drive off with it. Parents were very nervous at the time because this is the first road trip I've done. You know, 2 boys going in their early 20s, or may have been like before we were 20. So we first of all got to Keith. Now, we got to Keith and went to the toilets in Keith, and he decided to draw a doodle on the toilet door at Keith because everybody had written stuff on there, which is brilliant. And seeing this last night made me think of this. That wasn't the thing that we got into trouble for, though. We ended up going to Bordertown, and we went to the local Bordertown cafe.
You didn't get far from Keith, did you?
No, not really. We're a little bit hungry, and the Bordertown cafe owner, the guy I was with, said, "Can you just tell us what's in the veggie burger?" And the owner was a real arsehole, and he said, "Well, obviously it's a veggie patty." And at that point, we thought, okay, we need to take a stand here. We were young. We thought this is our moment to strike.
That.
No, well, you didn't cop it. So what we did was sitting at the table. He was eating reluctantly the veggie burger. I think I was having something similar. We saw two laminated menus. Two laminated menus on the table. I had a copy of the Advertiser newspaper, and I said, "Check this out, mate. I'm hardcore." I've put the two laminated menus inside the newspaper.
No way.
And at that point, we looked at each other and thought, now we're criminals. There's no going back. Let's get another one. So 2 became 3. 3 became 4. We ended up with 4 laminated menus. We put the menus in the newspaper, said, "Thanks, mate. Burgers were great." Got in the car, drove off, thinking this is brilliant. We technically thought we just robbed a bank and everything was awesome.
Yep.
So soon enough, about an hour later, we were literally crossing the border into Victoria, because I think Bordertown is a little bit before the actual border.
It's about 20 Ks, I think.
Yeah. So we were doing that. We drove past. We thought, this is amazing. Rain's starting to fall. We're going 100, thinking we are legends. Not only have we just committed the biggest crime in South Australian history, but we've got away with it. Anyway, a cop car drove past us going the other direction, and we thought, oh no, the cops are coming. The cops are coming. Soon enough, we saw the cop do a U-turn and pull us over.
Full water at style.
It was full on. So he pulled over and he walked up to us and said, "Guys, where are you going today?" We're like, "Oh, we are just going to Victoria." And then he's like, "Okay, so what's going on with the menus?" Police officer. And we're like, "What are you talking about? What menus? We don't have any menus." So literally, it sounds like I'm making this up. The police officer looked in and said to the inflatable doll, "Do you have any menus?" Which was so weird. And then he took the time to call the guy at this cafe and talk to him about it. Hung up the phone, and we're freaking out going, we've just crossed the border into Victoria.
Yeah.
What are we going to do here? We're here to watch the footy. It's not going to happen. The cop came back and he said to us, "That guy had a bit of attitude, didn't he?" Have a good day, fellas. And let us go.
Now,
So he's on your page.
It was full on.
That's amazing.
while you were telling that story, I had what they would call a brain fart in the industry. Yeah, there we go. There's the thought. That's not the first time that we have removed something from a venue. You and I went out one night. And
Yeah.
can you tell the pink flamingo story?
Well, we did have a particular night out, and it was like a Friday night, wasn't it? A Friday night where we were supposed to go out and have a couple of work drinks.
Yeah, it was an what's his name? The chef dude that opened up a new
Sean's
place.
Kitchen.
Yeah, Sean's Kitchen. That's it.
So we went there, had a couple of drinks, and then Andy and I, we spoke about last week. You go 0 to 100 very quickly.
Real quick, yeah.
And at that point, there was a fashion parade on.
100 is not bad, by the way. That's 100 comes into the term hero.
No, we're talking about 100 Coronas.
Okay, yeah.
And
move along.
we decided to jump into a car and go to this Adelaide fashion parade. And look at us, we're both not fashionistas. So we went there, which is to get the free drinks. And they were pretty much cocktails, weren't they?
Yeah, it was gin and like tonic with cucumber in it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like when we got there, it just felt like water.
Yeah, we were downing them pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I think, was this outside or inside?
It was inside. It was inside the big filming thing in Glenside.
Yes, and we noticed a flamingo, a big model flamingo.
Yeah, and this was at the point that because somehow we ended up in some VIP area, sitting down, talking to randoms.
You weren't invited, just rocked
About
up.
being engaged to a prostitute, I believe, the conversation was, but that's a story for another day. So anyway, so we're sitting around with these flamingos, and then all of a sudden, like when you're out at night and you're having a great night, and all of a sudden the club closes, and you're like, what? We all have to leave now.
Yeah.
Like
Where
that
can
sort
we
of
go
vibe.
now? What can
That's
we do
what
now?
happened. Everyone literally started flocking out.
Yep.
So to speak, out of the venue. And I've turned to Jared as we're like cruising out, and he's got a flamingo under his shirt. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Jared's
like
got
a
it.
big flamingo with long legs and stuff.
I used to turn into a real klepto when I drank and I was out. Like, I'd get home and I'd have salt and pepper shakers in my back pocket. Gav's just like, where'd you get all these tea candles from? I'm like, well, look at him. It says the lion on there.
And then we had a car ride conversation. Kelly Noble from Glam Adelaide took us home.
It was
bizarre.
the weirdest night, and Andy was basically just sitting in between two kids' seats, just going,
Yeah, on the floor.
"Yeah, so how's the family?"
Things well with everybody.
Oh man, we need to bring at least one of these stories around, Matty.
Yeah.
We've all got them.
Yeah, well, I've got a mate that he doesn't steal things, but he gets
He long-term borrows.
no, not even that. He gives it a crack when he has a beer.
Yeah.
Like, he loves it. He loves a beer. His name's Kieran. He actually listens to the podcast weekly as well. So we might chuck him on the plaque next week. He loves getting home, jumping on eBay and buying things when he's that blind and can't remember, and then they randomly rock up to his house. He bought a knight in shining armor suit.
What?
I'm going to get a photo of it and put it on our socials. He bought that. He bought the old, like, what was the, from Ghostbusters, is it Doughboy?
The Michelin Man.
Yeah. He bought,
Or maybe it was Doughboy.
It was
Maybe
something
Michelin
like that.
Man is actually Michelin Man.
Yeah, I think
or
so.
Michelin.
Michelle.
What do you say? Oh,
Michelin?
Who are you with? Michelle and
Michelle.
Steve? Oh, okay. Yeah, guys, let's enjoy the night.
But yeah, he buys random things off eBay and they rock up to his house. I'll get a list of things. I'll ask him because some of them are very, very
All right,
funny.
get a photo and put that on our socials. We've been going for a little bit, so we've got a couple more things to get through before we wrap up. Of course, we need to talk about the Port Pirates, who had a great weekend. The Skeff got a brace. I
Another
think.
two. He's flying.
He's flying. So we're going to try and speak to the Skeff at some stage and get him on the podcast. The other things that we need to talk about, boys, first of all, Andy. Two things coming your way. Matty's got some headlines for you with Andy's 3 big sporting issues, or how many we've got.
Yeah.
You sent us some reviews for the podcast, and we think that's brilliant because, yeah, we talk about people liking it. None of this is manufactured, but you said people have put in some actual things about the podcast that we wanted to talk about because we went up in the ratings in the basketball category or something.
We've entered the basketball ratings.
Yeah. They were pretty good. Yeah, so we've in the last week, we've had 11 ratings and the average is 5, which is great.
11 ratings is sick because people have to take the time to do it.
Do it. Yeah, they're thinking about us.
And the stat is we have 100% monthly growth. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
but
well,
I'm
it goes
guessing
from one listener to two.
Yeah, it sounds good.
But here's a couple of reviews to think about. So these are both 5-star reviews. We haven't got any 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star or minus reviews. These are just the 2 reviews that have popped up this week. So this is from Anthony Toad McCann.
Went on
Toady.
the plaque last week.
Toady.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, the Toadfish, Jared Rebecki.
Just got on board with these low-key local legends. Thank you.
That's a backhanded compliment. But that's all right.
Well, especially this next bit. Been a Matty B fan for many years.
Oh.
Used to see him at the Sporties Bar. No, he didn't write that, but I used to. So, and thoroughly enjoyed the listen. Anya Pirates, keep it up, lads.
Yeah, it's
So,
nice. Thanks,
Peter
Rebecki.
Anthony.
Thanks, Toadfish.
Yeah, what's his nickname? Is it just Toad?
It's Toady.
Toady. Okay.
Yeah,
Toady.
Yeah, thanks, Toady. And then we have one from Hevish Tisha Becker. So I think they've actually just mashed the keyboard when they've written that one in. But this one's 5 stars. It's titled Seriously Fun Listening. It says the stories are hilarious and the boys have heaps of fun together. Great, easy listening.
That's really nice. And
is great.
even if Hashabash Jashash is fake,
Well, that might be from Oman. Could be one of your old mates' mates.
well, that's very true.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's borderline offensive. But
Oh, that's true.
It could be Arsenaldo.
well, it could be,
it
but
could
we
be. He's very-
appreciate
he was very
that.
angry with his.
Or it could be Andy's 4-month-old daughter.
That's very true.
Yeah, she does review a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard her on the podvertising.
Yeah.
So if you can review the podcast, that's good. It gets
Yeah.
us
Gets us up and about.
Yeah, I think it does. And we just enjoy doing it. I think, it doesn't matter how long it goes for. If you guys are enjoying it and getting a smile and a little bit of a laugh, that's all that matters because we enjoy doing it. So it doesn't matter if we have 1 listener or 100 or whatever this grows to. We are very thankful for you taking the time to choose us because there's a lot of choice when it comes to podcasts now. Obviously, Andy chooses Daniel Garb, but there's a lot of choice. And the fact that you're taking the time to choose us is brilliant.
Up and goes my favourite.
Matty, I want you to take the time to throw some headlines at Andy because we know that he knows nothing about sport, which is fantastic, and it's time for him to decipher some headlines.
It is.
Good lordy.
Do your little live intro again.
What was it called again?
Andy's.
Andy's burning sporting
sports.
issues.
Andy's burning sporting issues. There we go. That's the old classic Nova trick. Have the fader down when you do things.
All right, the
Rosie?
first one. And I reckon
No, just kidding. Okay, let's get into this.
ruler can't measure Johnson's impact.
Is that an actual headline, or
It
you
is.
made that up?
No, I'm looking at the actual paper.
My first thought is this dude is the biggest porn star in the world, and they've measured him out, and he's a really he's a bit of a go-getter when it comes to stapling in the purse. I don't know where I was going. I was saying words. I blacked out during that whole thing, guys. So did I do all right?
It's about a college football player in America. Okay, named Johnson.
Yeah.
And the opposition coach's name's Ruler, and they couldn't measure his impact on the game.
That's a great headline. as
yeah,
well.
And there, I'm showing you boys that
Well
that is actually.
done.
That feels like the NT News has done a headline
That's
there.
amazing.
Yep. So, okay, this one. This is from the Orange County Register in America.
Oh, yeah, the OC.
Okay.
Hey?
Colon absorbs another pounding.
That can't be a real one either.
I'm telling you it is, and I'll explain it in a minute.
What's sports related? So
Okay, I think I know what it is.
the Collingwood Collins
In Orange
haven't had
County.
a great year. Based in Orange County.
Has it got something to do with martial arts, with fighting?
No.
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 Oh, really?
Oh, okay. No, I can't. I can only think about like putting the hose up there and cleaning it out. What are they called?
So there's a baseballer, and his name's Bartolo Colon, and it's spelt Colon.
Right.
Okay, and he's a pitcher, and he got belted for heaps of runs. Okay, so Colon absorbs another pounding. He got pounded by the batsman. And that was an actual headline from
Matty,
the Orange County.
Yeah, right.
You are great at this.
Yeah, so this could be, and we can include you in this
No,
too.
I reckon this is your thing, mate. I reckon you're really good at sourcing that, but also delivering it. And Andy, you're really shit at it. So it works well.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, so there's stuff for next round that we can kind of forward tease as well, because there's stuff we haven't got to today, which is great because we've got lots of things. Next round, I need to tell you about my mother and what she walked in on towards
When
the
you
end
were
of last
15.
week. I mean, that's two stories. I have another one to tell you as well. And it's a brilliant story. It's really, none of these stories are fabricated as well, and they just kind of happen. So next week we'll do that. We're going to try and get in touch with the SCEF over the next 7 days as well to make sure that's done. And there's plenty of other stuff as well. I wanted to tell you about the time that I almost met Alicia Keys.
Almost.
And I got very close to doing it as well in Hong Kong.
so random.
That is heaps
It's
random.
very random. So when you guys go away this week, have a think about celebrity encounters, good or bad, because we've had the opportunity to meet some pretty famous people in everybody's eyes. I know, Matt, you have heaps of people, and the same with you, Andos.
Yeah, I met Kim Dillon a few times.
Andy comes in and goes, guys, all right, I need 10 minutes. I'm going to build up a story. I'm going to tell you about the time I met Dustin Fletcher. We got a lot in that the round coming up as well. And I would like to, and I don't know if I'm going to get a full buy-in here, I would like to talk about my journey of hair loss, because I'm finding some solace in finding people that I like in footballers who have lost their hair and made the call, such as Port Adelaide. There's Jared Leanett, and you mentioned Cam Sutcliffe as well, Maddie. It's a whole round to talk about dudes losing their hair. I'm comfortable talking about it because it's an interesting journey that we go on.
You've got to consider a lot of things, and I've got a lot of questions.
Do you really?
Yeah, I actually want to know more.
Awesome. This is great. So we've got a whole round to build up. Thank you for listening. Who are our sponsors?
Con at the Brighton Trophy Centre. And Lee at Shifty Lizard Brewing.
Now, boys, you need to give us some commercials to read out as well, maybe, because the look
We'll get
Andy
on to
gave
that.
us when we talked about podvertising is a very scary one.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we're back down to 2.
Just check out pulvertise.com.au.
Love you, boys.
See you, boys.
See you, boys.
Nurses, we just want to thank you for everything you do. We are ShiftKey.com. Log on today and connect to open PRN shifts in your area. Work when you want, where you want. You can even get paid next day. ShiftKey.com. Start today.